Greetings, humans. Here today with our friend of the multiverse, Mr. Jason Quitt, author Jason Quitt, and our lovely producer, Brittany. How's it going today, guys?
Good to see you both.
Brittany, how are you?
I'm good.
Awesome. Excited. We're doing a little bit of something a little different today. We're going live in the middle of the afternoon instead of the evening, and on a Wednesday instead of a Thursday. We're going to be switching things up here in the multiverse. I got my basketball schedule for the fall, actually just really for the next 6 weeks or so. So we're going to switch our live streams to Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern instead of Thursdays. But everything else is going to stay the same, right, Brittany? We're still just releasing on Fridays at 10 a.m. for our interviews.
Yep.
Cool.
Everything else is the same.
Yep. And and today we want to do something a little extra special because we had our most recent book of the month, which is Astral Experiences by our friend Jason Quitt, but he's also the author of a few other books: Gates of the Anunnaki, Sacred Geometry, Keys to the Gods, Egyptian Postures of Power, which I want to talk to him about today, which is Egyptian Postures of Power, Mysticism, Meditations, and Movements, as well as Astral Genesis, Astrological Keys to the Gods. But then obviously we want to talk about his newest book, Astral Experiences, because it's had an impact on me, and it's a very interesting story, and it's a little different, right, Jason, than what you normally do. This one's much more personal, huh?
Yeah, I've kind of been sitting on this for the last 10 years at least. I first wrote this book about my experiences with an author, Bob Mitchell, who is a Toronto Star reporter. And we got together around 2015, and we wrote a book called Forbidden Knowledge, Revelations of a Multidimensional Time Traveler. Mm-hmm. And we went on coast to coast. We did all these shows, and that's kind of like what propelled me into this community. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing this for a little while. And but unfortunately, Bob Mitchell passed away about 6 months from the release of the book.
Okay.
And for my own reasons, we took the book down. So we just said, you know what, this is a little too personal, this book. I wasn't really, back in the day, I just spoke to small groups in Ontario, Canada, mostly like dowsing or qigong groups. And then I went into this book and I wrote all these personal stories, including the names of my friends and names of my family and names of my teachers. So basically, there was no filter on that book whatsoever. And so when it got very popular and, it was started to get translated into different languages, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to pull this back. This is kind of getting out of a little control here. So I've been sitting on this information since that book, but it's been 10 years since these experiences have happened. So I have also a different perspective. I've grown up a lot. I understand the community. I understand the information because back then I thought I was alone. I didn't know people were having these experiences too.
Right.
So I thought, okay, I got to get this story out because, somebody's got to hear what I've been going through. And then when I wrote the book, suddenly I'm flooded with emails or people coming up to me at shows saying, what happened to you is exactly what happened to me. And I realized that my story isn't so special. Everybody has these experiences.
Yeah, they do. It's kind of a spectrum, right? Like everyone, maybe a spectrum of like how you experience it. Like, because for me, I've only had very isolated incidences of sleep paralysis, like 3 times, very specific, and that's it. That's all I've ever had, right? And then there's people like you, who. And I just want to say, I don't know if anyone has ever told you this before, but I think your story is very inspiring. I find you a very resilient guy because you thought you were by yourself. like until like 10 years ago, right? And like the
Yeah.
internet and this community and stuff like that. And you were living like, and like, just for those who haven't heard your story, could you kind of catch us up to like, how this started with you?
Sure. I always start the story with my early childhood because I had experiences growing up like many other children do, especially with like ghosts or shadow people.
Yeah.
Things at the edge of your bed or in your closet at night. So I had these experiences, but on top of that, I also had like out of body experiences as a child and past life experiences. And when I talk about past life, it's not like a memory comes back. It's very different. It's more like a reliving. So it's like you're back in that character, you're back in that other body, and you remember things, you see the world a different way. And then you come back and you go, oh my God, that was like the craziest dream ever. But it changes you. So this is the power of these type of experiences. You wake up the next morning a different person.
It changes you because you experienced like the life of somebody else.
Yeah. And you feel it so internally on all levels, like emotionally, spiritually, mentally, like, and a lot of these experiences that come back, they're not nice.
Right.
They're usually very traumatic moments that you kind of relive or some type of trauma. So you wake up with a huge amount of emotions. You may even feel the pain from that life. So you're like, okay, this is more than just a dream because I still feel this, like I'm carrying this in life.
Why do you suppose it's usually something traumatic?
I don't know. I think that when you look at it from like a shamanic perspective, usually a trauma imprints on you and it changes the course of your life. So if you look at things, let's just say from the philosophy of energy, you have an energy field, and let's say something traumatic happens to you, that field now gets distorted with this new trauma, and now you have to carry and live with this distortion. So if we live life to life, like many people believe, like I believe, then maybe the bigger traumas we actually carry with us from life to life, that distortion is still there. But from the shamanic perspective, because it's energy, we can now heal it and shift it in this life, so we no longer have to carry it
from a past life.
That's right.
Yeah, because I'm just like I'm very. I know I'm just very much scratching the surface here personally on some of this stuff, and like with the very moderate, like mild amount of. Because I started seeing an acupuncturist, and he's been teaching me a little bit, like a tiny little bit of Tai Chi and qigong. Okay, it's a tiny bit. And I'm starting to like notice like a depth of perceptual awareness that like I wasn't paying attention to like all the time. And it's actually really helping me with my pain. Like, and for those of you who don't know, or some of you have heard this before, I'm sorry, but I've been like living in a state of like chronic back and hip pain. And it's like my feet have literally been going numb. Like my feet have stopped working like for several years now. It's been terrible. And so that's why. So when you bring that up, like if you had to talk to me a year ago, I wouldn't have like thought that something like meditation, breathing, like paying attention to your body could like help me. I was looking for something external. And I was like, hey, doctors, programs, exercise programs. Like I never went down the pain medication route, thank God. But like you said something in here. I don't know if I didn't have time to underline it, but it was something along the lines of, and this is in your back pain part of your book, your back pain chapter of your book. You said the answer was like within you, and like I find it so fascinating that like what helped you harness this like, you know, ability, for lack of a better word, that you had with the astral projection, the past life, stuff like that, the meditation, the breathing and all that stuff is what helped you with your physical injury as well. It's what helped you with your emotional trauma and your and your physical trauma. Do you find that interesting?
I think the word that you used is the key. It's called awareness.
Yes, perceptual
And
awareness.
when I first got into this, like I was practicing qigong, which we'll get into more, but the breathing and the qigong, and I didn't feel a thing. Like
Yeah.
I was just going through the motions. I was doing what I was taught to do, but I didn't feel anything. I was just, standing in postures, doing movements and breathing and, and then I started to get this sensitivity or awareness of my emotions and my body. And it was kind of like a flood of emotions where I'm like, I never realized I was numb before.
Yes.
Like you don't know that you're numb until you start to feel certain things. So you get this kind of awareness or this energy perception when you're doing this type of work, and it doesn't come overnight. It took me a long time to feel these things.
Yes, right.
And there was one moment in my practice where I'm doing the movements and I put my hands together and I could just feel like these magnetic fields. It just felt like my hands turned into two repelling magnets and I couldn't like put my hands together. They were like bouncing off each other. Like I could feel that field around it. And it was like this moment where it's like, okay, I could feel this. This is not like something that people are just, it's some philosophy of energy. It's like I literally can feel this field around my hands. And then by practicing the breathing and the qigong, it kind of like the awareness spreads through the body. So you start to get sensitive, which is a good thing and a bad thing.
Yes.
Because, sometimes we live with pain our whole lives that it just becomes numb. So it becomes invisible to us. And then suddenly we start doing qigong or these meditations, and suddenly that numbness goes away and go, shit, I'm in pain. And then they blame the meditation or they blame the qigong.
Right.
And all it's doing is saying, okay, you want to deal with it. Let's deal with it.
Let's pay attention to it.
Right. So that's how I kind of started to get into this, is learning how to feel like your acupuncturist taught you.
So you started doing the qigong, and like at what stage in your life, like, did you start getting into it?
I started to get into it in my early 20s when I started to have these out-of-body experiences.
Yes. Okay.
And like in the book, I talk about this, but I'll share everything. It doesn't matter if it's in the book or not. But basically, when I started to leave my body, I started to have these interactions, what people would call entities or demons or things like this, which is very, very common with people leaving their body or, and I had this contact experience where this being would actually talk to me. And it basically said to me that if I were to continue leaving my body, I'd become very sick, that I'd have a very short lifespan. And the reason is that my energy field was not strong enough. And that if I left my body, I would attract certain things to me, which I was. I was experiencing that attraction. And that those things would attach to me and weaken me more and manipulate and control me. So it was a real warning call saying, stop exploring these worlds, because right now at your stage of development, it is actually dangerous for you. Not a lot of people get those warnings.
Right. You were like told that directly.
Yeah. And because I was fighting these things off me, like it literally became like I'd go to sleep at night, have these sleep paralysis, and have things in the room basically trying to pull me out of my body or like sit on me, or it was just horrible. Like these horrible, very frightening experiences.
Yeah.
So basically they said my energy field sucks. Like
Right.
They're like, and you're going to hurt yourself if you keep going. And that's where I got into qigong, because qigong is this kind of martial arts for your energy. It's supposed to strengthen and build and correct and the flow of your energy field.
And it's an awareness thing. And how did you get into, like, was there anything, like, was it something that, like, you had been reading about? Did somebody go, hey, bro, you got to try this qigong, it really helped me? Like, what was it that, like, you know, made you choose that? Because there is different, like, I don't want to say versions, but like different paths to the same kind of outcome, right? Like
there's hundreds of thousands of styles of qigong and tai chi, and you know, so how do I choose? Well, I'll just say synchronicity, because at that time, I have a cousin, I think they call it second removed. Okay, so it's like a cousin from my mother's side of the family, and she is very psychic. Like, she's a channeler, psychic, and my family, you know, they didn't really like the whole psychic thing. But if they were in trouble, they would go to her, which is the funniest thing, you know. So I felt like I was in trouble, and I knew that I had this psychic in the family. So I went to talk to them about this, and they started to explain that they know what I'm talking about, and that they're taking qigong. They're going to start a new class. Do I want to come with them? So it was like at this perfect moment in time where she was exploring qigong, and she just signed up for a class, and she goes, do I want to go with her?
Okay.
So that's how it pulled me into qigong.
So there was just weird timing, because it could have been anything.
It was a very universal synchronicity. And there was the original thing we learned. It was actually something that Greg Braden used to talk about a lot. It was called lift chi up, or it's called qi lao. It's from China. It's a Chinese system of qigong. It's called pour chi up, pour chi down, fa chi. So there's all these, like, so I learned like a very basic, I don't want to say basic, but a very traditional method of qigong first. And then from there, I started to learn different styles. Like I started to learn Falun Dafa, because of all the stuff you learn about how it's, they basically kill those people in China, and, you know, it's very illegal to practice in China. So I'm like, oh, that sounds good. I'll try that one.
We'll give that one a go.
Yeah. So I started to try all these different qigongs, but the main one was the qi lao that I started to work with.
And you talk about that in the book. Could you share a little bit about that?
Sure. Like I said, at first I didn't feel a thing.
Yeah.
You know, it took a while to get this going, but then once you started to kind of generate this energy, you start feeling pain. And again, this is why a lot of people stop doing it. My body started to be kind of like this Chinese acupuncture doll. Like, that's the only way I could describe it, because, you know, you see like the acupuncture doll with the meridian lines and like the points in it.
Yes.
Well, like I would wake up in the morning, and this is also part of a qigong practice, is where you actually touch your body. Okay, so you just kind of feel around your body to see where your pain is. Most people don't even think about that, but like I could touch a point on my body and go, oh my God, why is that so painful there? You know, so your body starts to, and I don't even have to touch. I could just wake up in the morning. I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, what is this? Like, I could feel this like sharp pain in this point in my body. And then I would do my meditations, do my qigong until I could feel whatever that pain was come to the surface or release. Now, I don't know what that was. I'm not like getting a psychic vision or a message saying this is from this or that. All I know is it's there and it's painful, and just work it out. And so I started to get very sensitive energetically, where even if I eat the wrong food, or if I'm in the wrong location, suddenly I'll get these weird sensations and pain in my body. And it's almost like you have this other intelligence that you normally are unaware of. I call it like the body intelligence.
Yeah.
And it speaks to you through pain and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like an empathic type ability, I guess you can say.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what qigong really did for me, is just really open up the energy world in that regard.
Yeah, and I imagine like just modern life like kind of stifles that a little bit for us because we always get to kind of get a hit of dopamine from like something easy, but then also we're also in like a controlled temperature all the time. Like I feel like what you're describing is in relation to like finely tuned like way of like existing perceptual awareness, for lack of a better word, that is like doesn't exist in some people. And that's why it was something that I never paid much attention to either. See, here's the thing, Jason. I've been like physical and athletic my whole life, like but with not a whole lot of like awareness perceptionally about like what my body's doing, right? It's just like, but if it involved like hitting a ball with a stick or something, or hitting a puck, or like shooting a basket, or running fast for a long time, I could always do stuff like that really well. But since I hurt myself, I've had to pay attention like to my body in a way that like I'm just scratching the surface on, like I mentioned. And I'm also scared a little bit to keep going because of like what you described about like opening the whatever you want to call it, the energy, like opening it up like that. Cause like, I feel like I feel like I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. So I'm a little bit concerned.
Yeah, that's what I say to a lot of people. People are like, "How come you feel it and like we don't?" I'm like, "Because I'm really stubborn."
Yeah.
Because like I won't believe anything unless it's like hits me in the face. Like,
Yes.
I need to feel it to understand it.
Yeah.
But this is the whole thing with qigong, and we were talking about the back injury, but what I didn't write in the book is that I've always had back issues.
Okay.
Right. So I've always had like, I'm trying to remember when it was exactly, how old I was. It was definitely between 20 and 25, maybe between 23 and 25. I had a slip disc in my lower back.
Okay, I've had that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
part
and
of how I ended up the way I am right now.
As the worst feeling ever. I mean, it's debilitating pain.
Yes.
Where basically, people talk about sciatica nerve or anything like this. No, it's like your legs become like paralyzed. Like you can't, it's so painful, right? So I remember I would be like, I had to go for physio for a long time. I was crawling on the floor in pain, like really, really bad stuff. Like that was a really bad injury, a slip disc in the lower back.
In your 20s.
In my 20s, yeah. And it was something stupid. I was raking leaves. Like we have these big maple trees, and I think we did like 40 bags of like raking and lifting bags. And then right after, I went back to the computer to work and sat in my terrible chair. And it just, something shifted. But yeah, so it could be something as stupid as that. The point in bringing it up is like that was a constant pain, as in even when it was gone, every couple months it would flare up again.
Yeah.
I'll go pick something up and go,
yeah.
And then I'm done. I'm on the ground like crying, like I can't like move my legs and stuff.
And the next like 3 to 7 days are gonna really suck. Yeah. That's how it started for me too.
And I was involved, or I'm still am involved. I didn't really write about this too much in the book, but I was involved in these like medical electronics companies. So I was really involved in like PEMF technology.
Yes.
Things like that. So I had all these like machines.
Pulse electromagnetic frequency
therapies. Yeah.
Therapy. Yeah. Okay.
And I had this device from Germany. and it was a very powerful device. It went up to 10,000 hertz of like a pulsed field, and it came with this this like Tesla coil, right? A flat Tesla coil, so like a spiral. And one day, I had one of those days where everything was fine, and then I went to pick something up, and then I was done.
Boom. Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm done. This is too much painful. I put the machine on my bed. I laid on the coil with the coil right on my back. I went right to 10,000 hertz, and I just put it on. I don't even know how long it took, but I'm like laying there, and I felt like this pop. Like it was like this pop sensation in my lower back, and it felt like it's the weirdest sensation ever. It felt like a warm honey, like a very viscous liquid, and it was warm. And it when that thing popped in my lower back, whatever that pop sensation I felt, it felt like this warm liquid honey went down slowly through my legs and then out my feet, and then suddenly the pain was gone. And I got up, and I'm like moving around. I'm like, that's the craziest thing. Like that, I've never experienced that before. It just took my pain away, and I'm like, then it dawned on me. Wait a second. Was my pain energetic? You know, and somehow that magnetic field somehow shifted or corrected that distortion of energy, and now suddenly that energy is now, or that whatever that pain was, left my body. That's how what I experienced, and then I was completely fine after that.
Well, because this was a repeat thing, like you knew what was you knew that this was going to be exactly like the other 5 times it happened or whatever, right? And that like you were going to be laid up for a few days and whatnot, and then all of a sudden, like this extreme electromagnetic frequency therapy, like at least blast of it, in that instance, at least, like shifted your magnetic or shifted your energy field in some way that like reset you. I think that's possible, man. I think the spine is like so complicated and weird, and it's one of those things that like I don't even think I was paying a whole lot of attention to. I think my brain was like purposely not paying attention to like years worth of like physical, like military type like attitudes of like suck it up and drive on and don't worry about your pain, both emotionally and physically. So I find it serendipitous because I reached out to you. I can't remember why. Something about it was when we started doing the book. We started doing the book of the month, and then you asked how it was going, and at the time I was feeling particularly shitty when we were chatting, and I told you about it. And I was at the part in the book where you had hurt your back, right? And I mentioned this to you in chat, but I'll say it here as well. The last time I saw you at Contact in the Desert. So when was that? In May, like 20th something? Yeah. You were one of the people I was looking forward to seeing the most and actually spending some time with. And I never got to because I was in like an extraordinary amount of pain. An extraordinary amount. Could you tell?
No.
I felt bad. I was like, after we left, I was like, man, I feel like because like we talked a few times like at your table and stuff, but like I was hoping to like have dinner or hang out or something, but man, it was the worst. And it was from sciatic nerve. So, but it jumped around from the lower back to my hip, which I had surgery on, to like my feet going weak and numb, to like terrible sciatic nerve pain. And I find it rather serendipitous that I started, or whatever you want to call it. What did you call it when
synchronicity?
Synchronicity, yeah. That like around the same time, I can't remember if it was slightly before or slightly afterwards, the VA granted me like a bunch of like in the community. So I don't have to go all the way to the hospital, like in Atlanta. I can go to like a practitioner in my community and get acupuncture, chiropractic, physical therapy and massage, which is like, man, I can't, it's all free. Like I get 12 free sessions of all of them. I'm so grateful.
Awesome.
But I met this acupuncturist dude who likes Dungeons and Dragons like me, which is cool. But we have a very good rapport, which is helpful for me. Like, like any sort of practitioner, especially when it comes to healing, you need like a good rapport. But he gave me some like mild, like I don't need when I say like I've been practicing qigong and or tai chi to you, it might be laughable, like the amount, because he told me don't look online, don't look up a bunch of videos, because I have this type of personality where like I'll be like, okay, what's on YouTube? I'm gonna like do qigong and tai chi like till the cows come home. And he's like trying to train me not to do that with everything, because I do that. I have that type of personality. So he's like, just stop doing all the other stuff you're doing, because I was doing all this physical therapy and shit I found online and stuff. He's like, stop doing all that and just do these breathing exercises and these, I want to call them kind of isometric holds. And that's it. So that's all I stopped doing everything else. And I was doing a lot of stuff right around the time I was messaging with you about this. And you were like, and it was coming up in the book. And then I met this guy and I've actually been, first of all, I've had a reduction in pain, which is like, if it stays like this forever, Jason, I would be grateful. Like, it doesn't have to get any better than this. I mean, it's really not that great. Okay. First off, number one, but number two, because I have a lot of experience with just practical meditation practice, I'm a mental health counselor by trade. So I teach people meditation and mindfulness and different versions of it. I've done countless hours of it myself. I've been paying attention to like my body in a different way since I started doing the breathing in isometric holds. And that's why, but I'm saying like it's a surface scratch. One of those things where like I'm having some light bulbs turn on and some connectivity where I'm going, oh wow, like I've been there's a whole like thing I've been missing. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. And you got to start simple,
Yes.
Like I remember there was, I'm just like you. It's really funny. There was this qigong practitioner who was really well known close to where I grew up. He was very well known in like the Chinese community.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, well, I want to learn from this guy because he's like a real, Chinese master from China. I want to learn from this guy. He's like in his 80s or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember going up there. It was in this condo, or not a condo, like a commercial building that was like a high rise.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went into the studio there, and I'm the only white guy, only white guy in a room of Chinese people. And, I go to him and, master, will you teach me, your method of qigong and all this stuff? And he's just like, no.
Yeah.
And then his teacher's assistant came up to me afterwards, and she said, okay, well, he's not going to teach you, but what they want you to do is just do this one move and then come back in a year.
Yes, this is what my guy's like. Yes.
Right. So if you do this one move over and over again, I won't show the move, but it's a very, very simple move. And that's kind of like the whole like Chinese way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's no explanation. Just do this thing, breathe, move your hands like this, and we're not going to tell you what's going to happen to you.
This is literally the plot of Karate Kid. You know that, Jason,
Nobody...
right? It is, because as he teaches him these wax on, wax off, do the car, clean the car, paint the fence, right? Yeah. And then he does both things, and the next thing you know, he can fight, right? A year later.
Right. Yeah. So that's just the way they are.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm like, again, I'm really stubborn.
Yes.
So I never really followed through with that one move. But
Mm.
the interesting part is that one move was actually part of the Qi Lao movement. So I was already doing that move. But again, it completely makes sense, and it sensitizes you and opens up. And like I said, Qigong was like the foundation for me. So it was a foundation of me getting into all these other modalities, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because before, it's like all these other modalities are, they're mental. Like you read about these things and it's all in your head. Like, yes, I understand energy. Yes, I understand chakras and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But until you can experience them and understand how they work, feel their movements, understand how they react with the environment and all these other things, you're basically in the dark until you can experience it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the only way that I know to get that experience is through these type of practices.
Yeah. And it's would it be fair to say that all these types of practices are honing your, I keep saying it, but perceptual awareness?
Yeah. And, my whole vision, let's say, is that we are multidimensional beings.
Right.
Like we are just beyond the physical. And being multidimensional, we have these other senses that are just outside of our reach, but they're still us. Okay. So it's like the whole thing is this kind of expanded awareness where you want to, like most people are numb in their physical body. So the first thing is, okay, learn the physical body, learn the physical intelligence, be grounded and present and all this other stuff. And then through meditation, it's almost like you dissolve these multidimensional boundaries. So it's almost like your awareness starts to not just expand, but go internally. And as the awareness goes outward, you're like, okay, I could feel this other thing now. I could have this other perception of awareness that I know that I've never experienced before, but it is me. It's not like, it's just we've been shut off for so long and not taught these things that they're foreign to us.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it's slow, right? It's like, it doesn't happen quickly. And it's like an overnight, it's not like an overnight sort of experience to be, it's like, here, do this one thing. And for the next year, like this guy that I've been working with, he was like, I'm standing there and he's like, why are your shoulders like that? I'm like, why are my shoulders like what? And he's like that. And I'm like what? Like, what are you talking about? And then he kind of like grabbed my shoulders and kind of moved them back a little bit. And and then he let go and then they like went forward again. And I was like, I don't know why they're like that. Why are they like that? So I started thinking about it. Right. But he's like basically like, don't do any pull-ups or push-ups for like a whole year. And I'm like, that's very specific. Like, why a whole year? Like, that was literally the words he just said. That's just like me saying, don't do it for like a long time. Like, you need to relax your shoulders. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't even know that was a thing I was allowed to do. But if you think about it, like my job in the military was like carrying this big pack full of medical supplies and like a gun and stuff. And like, I did pull-ups and push-ups like every day for like 15 years. But it's just funny to me because it's something that like I literally don't pay attention to. And there's like a whole dimension to just that, just how I hold my own body in space, right? And it should be foundational, like, wouldn't you think? Like, when we're talking about healing your body from like a traumatic injury, shouldn't that be like foundational teaching?
In the Chinese system, it is foundational teaching, and this is why they use it with, let's say, like kung fu. So, or any type of martial art. You have the hard martial arts, which is the physical abuse.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. That's what I'm used to.
Yes. but they do 50% the physical abuse to make you strong, and muscle memory. And then they do, it's called soft martial arts, which is the qigong tai chi.
Yes.
And that's where they say they build the internal power. It's that internal power that is very powerful. And it's not like the movies where they push people over with the mind.
Yeah.
Like for example, in qigong there's a stance called like horse stance, where you're basically very, very low center of gravity, and you're standing like that. You're being trained like that since a child, and your legs are like cement to the ground.
Sure. Your feet are probably super strong. Your hips have great mobility.
Yes. So it's like someone that's very strong that doesn't have that kind of core teaching of that stance in the legs. It's like they'll come and try to move that guy, and it'll be like, this guy has some like supernatural power. I can't budge him.
Right.
Right. He's been standing in horse stance since he was a child. Like, you're
for
not gonna move
thousands and
this guy.
thousands of hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
interesting.
It does build this power in you. But like for me, it was a way to, in my understanding, it was a way of restructuring the energetic body. And the philosophy that I was taught was that, we all talk about sacred geometry, right? The body is sacred geometry. And your body is an electromagnet. You have an electromagnetic field. You can measure it. You have the electricity going through your body. So think of like an antenna, right? You remember like the old TVs with the bunny ears?
Yeah.
You had to move the antenna to get the frequency. And once you get the frequency, you leave the antennas in that posture or in that position. So the philosophy that I was taught was that it's the same thing with the body. So as you change the geometry of the body, when you move it and hold it in different postures, you change the way energy moves through your body, and you change the energetic structure. So it's like when you're holding that posture, you're building an electromagnetic field in a specific frequency.
Yes. And you're
connecting. You're like connecting to these universal frequencies that you're now channeling through your body.
And when you said your body's sacred geometry, there's a certain alignment that your body likes, right? There's a certain energetic alignment that your body prefers.
Yes. And remember, it's like just the mineral structure of your body alone, like the bones, strontium, calcium, magnesium, like for the muscles. All these things have charges. They're ions, ionic. And the air is ionic, has a charge. The earth has a charge.
Yeah, the water.
Everything.
So
when you just think about it from like a scientific point of view, it's like everybody talks about grounding, but you put your feet on the earth, which is a natural negative polarity. It pulls down like gravity. And then you put your arms up, you touch the air. The air is a positive polarity, positive ions. What happens is you become a circuit. So you're literally pulling energy through your hands if you put them in the air, and you're drawing them through your feet into the earth. It's a natural thing that occurs without you even knowing.
You can feel a physiological response to that if you pay attention, though, too, right?
And that's the whole point. You close your eyes, you meditate, you do your standing postures, and you start to sensitize yourself and how the energy moves and flows as you're changing postures.
And we're talking about like qigong, which specifically, what we got you started in that. But I don't. Mike bought this book. I bought Astral Experiences, but the Egyptians had this figured out, right?
Well, that came from like past life relivings.
Okay, can you please explain that?
Yeah. So I was doing my normal Chinese qigong.
Okay.
And I was at this health show, and there was this guy there selling these rods called shungite cylinders.
Okay.
And there's a picture of a pharaoh, a statue of a pharaoh holding these cylinders, and said, "What is he holding?" I had no idea. I wasn't connected to Egypt in any way back then. And when he handed me these cylinders, it was like I felt this instant heat started to build in my stomach. Just by holding the rods, my stomach was like lit on fire. And that's the feeling that I would feel like at a long session of qigong. Like I was like totally energized. I could feel the qi in my body. So I was like, wow, these things are like activating my energies. So I started to just meditate with these rods before my qigong practice. And I felt that my sensitivity was skyrocketing. Like it was just opening me up so quickly, these cylinders. And again, I started to feel pain in different areas. I would start to move my arms to try to feel where the energy is going to get that pain out.
Yeah.
And then I would have these nighttime experiences where I'd be taken out of my body. I'd go to this temple. I'd be standing in front of a guy very similar to these Egyptian statues, and they'd be standing in these postures. And I knew that I had to copy them. And so I'd copy them in these experiences, and I'd feel like something open up above my head. I'd feel like I was standing under like a waterfall of like solar radiation. It was really powerful stuff. And I would wake up still in these postures with the energy still going through me. So when I would break the posture, the energy would stop. For me, that was insane. Like that was crazy experiences. So I started to document them. And that's where the Egyptian Postures of Powers book came from. It's these postures that come from these statues that you see in all these books of the weird Egyptian postures.
Yes. I can imagine a few in my head right now. But isn't it like sort of a similar like kind of practice is like
Absolutely.
I don't know, yoga or tai chi or qigong?
Yeah, it was one of those moments where I'm like, oh, maybe they're doing like a type of energy work like qigong or tai chi. And because I was into qigong, for me it made so much sense.
It noticed. You were like, oh, I know what this is.
Yeah, and luckily for me, I have the Royal Ontario Museum not so far from me. And they have a lot of these Egyptian exhibits with all these statues. But they also have statues from all over the world, especially from like Asia. And you're looking at these like Indonesian statues of their standing with mudras and in weird postures.
Yes.
And I'm like, people need to like just copy these statues. Just stand in front of the statue and hold the posture the statue is doing, and meditate and see what happens. So that's where my mind was. It was like, find the statues, copy them, see what it does.
And then write a book about it.
Yeah.
That's wild though. And it makes sense to me though that these not just ancient meaning like back a long time ago, but like very old civilizations are the ones who've have this kind of thing figured out. The patience, and it's like Western versus Eastern thing too, but there's like the difference of mindset versus like being in a hurry and versus being like, let me paint this fence for 15 years. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like we don't know how old this stuff is.
Yeah.
The Chinese can trace it back about 4,000 years. If we go into cultures like Egypt and we say, okay, those postures actually mean something, and they're practicing like an ancient form as well, we can extend it further back.
Yeah. I think it probably does though, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, in my opinion, it does.
Yeah.
Because, my whole thing is we all have the same body. We all operate the same way. And this is why there's over 100,000 different styles of Qigong, because every time a master masters a style of Qigong, they could edit it to what they believe is better for them, and then they teach their students that.
And everyone's different too. It's like literally with everything, like depending on your body, there's a different way to do a deadlift or throw a punch, just depending on what your body is shaped like. You know what I mean? Like, so it feels like the same way, same thing with, Qigong, right?
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, it's now that I've been doing it for so long, trying to remember. So I'm doing it for over 20 years now.
Uh-huh.
For me, it's just part of life. Like, it's not like a meditation. It's not like,
It's not like I sit down and do this thing every
right.
day. Right.
It's like you just kind of sense and feel. And, every night when I go to sleep, I do like a meditation where I go in and see what's there and if I need to release anything or work on anything.
So you don't have a practice like or you do still have a practice that you do, but it's basically turned into something that's not like it's not like painting the fence, like you know what you're doing now.
Right. One of my shamanic teachers, they always had this line where, they're teaching you these like meditation journeys,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like step 1 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
You got to learn all these steps.
Mm-hmm.
And they say you have to learn your form until you become formless.
Mm.
So it's like you really have to understand each step. And then once you're like an expert at that meditation, it's like you just kind of go with it. You understand what's going on.
Do you ever play video games, Jason?
No.
Okay. The reason why I bring it up is because there's this certain video games are like open world. They make you grind away at a certain like thing for a very long time. And then at the end of it, the reward is like the game opens up extensively. All of a sudden you can do so much more shit that you couldn't do before. And it's like, whoa. And I think that's literally like video game engineers tricking your dopamine to like do the same thing that you're like describing. But what you described it earlier as well, which is like, you reach a certain like level of just daily practice that, something new opens up to you, right?
Yeah, it just becomes you. Like I do the Egyptian postures, the ones that I was taught.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped doing the Chinese and I'm now doing the Egyptian postures. And I've done it for so many years that it's like if I need something or I need to work on something, it's like I just automatically kind of go into that understanding of that posture. So it's kind of like a muscle reflex, but like a spiritual muscle.
Interesting. What does practice look like for you?
Oh, it's like a standing meditation.
Okay.
It's just like when you're actually going through the postures
Mm-hmm.
and breathing, closing your eyes or opening your eyes. But the practice that I use the most, I would say, is for me, it's the easiest because it's when you're going to sleep at night.
Mm-hmm.
So you're relaxed, you're going to sleep, and you're laying in bed, so you can really kind of close your eyes and just tune into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I find like that's when I start to kind of feel the most.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. What he's got me doing is sort of a standing, breathing, isometric contraction thing that takes me like 20 minutes in the morning. And then he's literally wants me to, I'm supposed to, actually was going to go literally right after this, but I go and I walk by the lake almost every day. But today I'm supposed to do my breathing and my standing like on this little beach part with no shoes on for the exact reason why you described. That's literally what he told me to do.
Okay. Because like one of my heroes is like Nikola Tesla, right? And he figured out all this stuff about the body and the electricity and things like this. And he would walk with leather-soled shoes 8 miles a day.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you walk, you're walking through the magnetic field of the earth. Okay? When you're standing by the lake in the sand or near the water, it's all about this ions. It's all about this exchange of energy from nature. But like this thing where they say runner's high. You've experienced this.
Runner's high is like my favorite thing in the world. Yeah, I love
where
that.
you just get this like, this boost of energy.
Yeah,
well,
it's like my favorite.
Well, Nikola Tesla understood this. As you're walking through the magnetic field of the earth, you're getting hit with all these fields,
Mm-hmm.
and it's charging this ion resonance in your body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then once you get this charge at the certain level, it's just like this high you get, this boost of energy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, we're all connected. It's not like a woo-woo science whatsoever.
No.
It's literally just understanding the operation of the physical body and its symbiotic relationship with the environment around you. That's all this is. Yeah,
and the reason why it's not like, quantifiable, like in a Western sense, is because it's based off of our consciousness and our own perceptions and our own awareness, which you can't measure.
And
but it's there, it's observable.
Yeah. And like we're all different. We're different heights, different backgrounds, different blood types. The minerals in your body are in different levels than they are in my body. So it's like so weird. Everything is different, but we're also the same. So I it's funny, like I would do these classes where people have never done qigong in their life, and they'll be in one posture for like a minute, and suddenly they're like an expert. They're like, I could feel this is happening, I'm like, what? It took me a year to figure that out. Like,
yeah, so that's sort of been happening to me a little bit, but not in like that's what I mean about scratching the surface, because like last night I'm just like, because there's this whole like phenomenon that's been happening for like the last 3+ years where my feet, like there's like a certain like, I guess, way your feet grip the floor when you're standing or seated, that wasn't happening correctly in my body for some reason. And it started to turn back on when I was at Cosmic Summit like a few months ago. Like all of a sudden I was sitting there and I felt like this activation in the front of my feet, specifically my left foot. But I've had all these foot problems, Jason, like just a bunch. And all of a sudden just this activation of energy started happening in the front of my foot while I'm sitting there. And then all of a sudden my back pain started going away. My sciatica went away. But there's like it's definitely like a obstruction of energy thing, because I can feel it like if I pay really close attention, like during my acupuncture sessions and stuff like that, I can feel it. Like he'll show me, he'll like, the little acupuncture doll with the lines. You probably got one somewhere. Yeah. Yeah.
It's right there. Yeah. It's in front of me.
Yeah, he'll go like, just like, I'm going to put I pay attention to what he's doing, and maybe I'm making it up, but either way, like it like, I feel like I'm adding intention to what he's doing, and I can feel it. I feel like I can see it, but I'm probably just like, that's probably laughable to somebody like you who's been paying attention to this for like 20 years. I'm just excited about my journey though. Like, I feel like this is the thing that like, I've been missing. I've had several teachers tell me like, I say, oh, I've already learned how to meditate. I already told you, right? But have I really? If I didn't even know, like my shoulders were like this all the time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's like it's something that like is a lifelong practice.
Yeah, and there's a lot of practitioners, especially acupuncturists. Like I've met a couple that are very traditional, like they would come here from China. They don't even speak English, and then their son will have to translate for you. But they're also trained observers. Your body tells a story.
Yeah, this guy does that to me all the time.
And they can just grab your arm, look at your hands, look at your nails.
Yes.
And just feel your heartbeat, ask you some questions, and they'll be like, stop eating cauliflower. And you're like, how did you know that?
The thing is there's some woo that gets mixed in there that I've experienced. Some people who said some true like nonsense to me. Yeah. But then there's also like this guy like that I've been working. I'm actually going to bring him on the show eventually so you can see him. But he's said some things to me like through observation that like have like connected some dots in my mind, like emotionally, physically, like where I'm like, whoa, yeah, you're right. That's exactly. How did you see that? And he's like, well, and he kind of like explains how I'm standing weird, and I'm like, huh, okay. But like it's hard to even explain. But he's like that, and it's because he's been doing it for like a long time. Right?
Yeah. So it's not like a psychic ability. It's just like
No.
this trained observation to see how someone's walking. And, you know, you'll see a lot of people I remember even like when you're doing these shamanic courses, you know, they'll say, you know, when you're looking at someone who's like elderly, it's like, and they have these distortions of their body, like they're really humped over, for example, when they're walking. It's because like they say, well, their whole life they're carrying this burden on their back, and over time it's like it just conforms their body into that. So even though you can't see what they're holding, their body is showing you that it's holding on to this.
My body's holding something right here, and I don't know. Nobody can tell me what's going on there, but I'm working it out. And it's so fascinating to me because, like, and this is I'm not trying to hate on Western medicine or anything like that. Like, for example, you even mentioned in your book how grateful you were for it, right? They put your spine back together, right?
Yes.
But people can be like a 20-year physical therapist and just train and like teach somebody, here's how to execute these exercises for these injuries, and then not develop like a similar level of like observational awareness of other people's bodies. Have you noticed that? Like it takes a different level of
well, it's, you know, medicine, allopathic medicine compared to, I don't even want to say alternative, I'll say complementary medicine. And so you have the allopathic where it's basically based on statistics.
Yes,
you know,
which is weird.
Right, because they know if they apply this methodology or these drugs, then these are the percentage of people that will have a positive recovery.
That's so weird when you think about it. Like I knew that, but like it just when you really think about that, that's very weird.
Right. So it's kind of like a success rate that they know that it's working at this rate. And if it's working below that rate, then they're going to try to find other solutions for you. And this is why people try different types of therapies or medications when it comes to allopathic medicine.
Well, Rubate here just said similarly, the best example of how different different reactions we all have to the same chemo drug, right?
Yeah.
Similar idea, right?
Yes. And then complementary medicine, for example, is like we talk about the electromagnetic fields. Everything's an electromagnetic field. They know that a 10 hertz electromagnetic field being oscillated, they know that it excites the calcium molecule in the body, and they know it stimulates bone growth. So and that is across the entire board, 100%. So if let's say you have a non-union bone fracture, you can go and take this magnetic therapy and your bone is going to grow. Like that's known medicine.
I wish I knew that like 12 years ago, because I had a non-union fracture in my hand and they had to fuse my hand. It doesn't bend backwards. And would have been nice. But I actually did like a whole deployment like that with a broken hand like that. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, so probably would have been bad, like, anyway.
Well, anyways, and I'll just put this disclaimer out there. I'm not a medical practitioner whatsoever, so don't take any advice from this guy.
Yeah. Go see your doctor. Yeah, I'm totally, like, I like Western medicine a lot. Like, it's helped me with a lot of different things. And this gets back to your book and, what I've been experiencing through my journey through, like, back pain and hip pain and chronic pain and emotional trauma and that kind of thing is that there's a whole bunch of like external answers that you can reach for and go, give me this surgery or this drug or this exercise or this stretch or this, go to therapy, do whatever. But and this is like where we get to your part of your book and where you break your back is it was you, like you had to like learn how to be the new you after your back was broken. That's what had to happen. The answer was within you. And that's what like I've been like learning the long, slow way, I think. Which I think is the only way to learn that, right?
Well, okay, so you do something stupid like me and break your back, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go to the hospital. Trauma medicine in a hospital is like the best in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and you know that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I broke my back, I'm not going to sit there and meditate.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The ambulance is going to take me to the hospital, and like I said, I have 2 rods and 10 screws in my back right now, holding me together. So you go there, they basically save your life.
Mm-hmm.
They put you back together, and then they go, okay, you're well enough to go home and recover, so go home and recover.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, they could put the pieces back together, but now it's your responsibility to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you have to now understand. So obviously there's physiotherapy, there's this and that, but
the nutrition and
nutrition. Exactly. So it's like when I broke my back and I remember I was in my hospital bed, I was trained for years on how to be this kind of energetic healer guy, but it was all about like postures and movements and meditations. But what do you do when you're paralyzed?
Yeah.
The only thing that worked at those early days was my mind and my breath. So I used that and meditated with my breath to focus in the healing work. And I had this crazy experience in the hospital. I think this is what you're getting at, is that all I can do was basically meditate. I would actually do the postures in my mind. I'd see myself on a beach and in my mind doing the postures because I couldn't move. But I was doing this breathing meditation where it's called dantian breathing. So I'm breathing into my dantian, which is the lower abdomen, and I'm breathing just to get that heat going. So I'm building this heat, and I went into this altered state of consciousness where I saw this kind of like a Tesla coil. It looked like a heating element from a stove, and it was like copper color. And I saw this invisible field, and it was slowly moving with every breath towards this heating element. And when it touched the heating element went like bright orange red. And the moment that heating element turned on, I felt like this fire turned on in my body. Like my body just lit a flame, and very, very intense. And I just kind of focused. I knew I had to focus on my healing, focus on my back. So I guided that fire, that heat, directly to my spine. And I swear it was like the pain went from like 10 to 12. Okay, it went crazy. The pain was so bad. And then I had all these muscle spasms like in the hospital bed, and it literally felt like my muscles were like reconnecting properly. And then I felt like my bones like clicking and popping like back into place. Like it was very intense. And I had a miraculous recovery from my broken back, let's just say. But again, it's like you have these toolboxes, you have these things that you learn over the years that assist. So you have complementary medicine, let's say like qigong or pulse electromagnetic field. And then you have the traumatic medicine where they put you back together. And I really believe you need both of those.
You do. But that's why I said that what you had already had experience in qigong and stuff when you hurt your back the second time, and then the second time as well, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's why I call it. That's why I chose the word foundational as far as like recovery goes. is that being key part of it that I think is missing in quote unquote Western medicine or whatever, right? Modern medicine, because I've had 9 surgeries or something like that, right? I've had a bunch of orthopedic injuries from basketball, baseball, army, my own shenanigans, right? And I just like, do the, put the cast on, put the sling on, do the surgery, do the rehab, right? But none of that teaches you, like, your body's still got to like send that energy to like different places and offload here and offload there. And if you're not paying attention, you end up like me at 43, where you're like, because at 39, Jason, I was planning to start like an amateur like kickboxing career. I was lifting weights, I was running, I was like feeling the best I'd felt my whole life at 39. But because I'd had all those injuries and I'd never really learned how to like heal energetically and heal these like things that I'm starting to notice now that I might even have a difficult time describing. If I had that foundational piece of like, this is like how I pay attention to my energy, and this is how I move it through my body, and this is how it affects me, and that awareness, I don't think this would have happened to me. I think I got kind of forced to learn this the hard way, which I'm grateful for, like even being pushed in that direction by the universe, because taking medication or having surgeries like unnecessarily, like where yours was a different situation where you had a traumatic injury like that hurt your back, but they'll offer you surgeries on your back and on your hip and stuff like that when you haven't even had like a traumatic injury. They'll be like, here you can do this and we'll replace that. And like, sometimes I'm okay. I'm not a doctor either, don't listen to me, but like I always think that like you should try to heal your own self first. But how do you even do that if you're not paying attention? Right?
Yeah. And there's nobody that knows your body better than you.
Mm-hmm.
You know when to push it and not to push it.
Mm-hmm.
So right now you can get advice from a doctor on different things you can do. But you're right. There should be this kind of foundational knowledge that we're not taught today, that we need to be taught. Because for me, it's like the basis of everything. Like in the book I talk about it in the book, but like one of the teachings was, which is a shamanic teaching, which is everybody wants to stop the pain. You get hurt, the first thing you do is I need to stop the pain. Where this method is the opposite. It's saying go into the pain.
Yeah.
Experience that pain fully. Don't look away, go into it. And it's like I've had some miraculous things happen when I did that, because you're paying attention. It's almost like the pain is so bad, it's like pay attention here now. Go there.
You're trying to do the opposite. You're trying to not pay attention.
Right. You're trying to stop the pain.
Yes. Yes. And that's what chronic pain is like. And I see, that's what chronic pain is like. You're feeling it all day, and like you're planning your day around it. You're like always looking for like that YouTube video, 3 whatevers to help sciatic nerve pain or something like that, right? But there's always, and it's like there's nothing wrong with stuff like that, right? Inherently, but like when you're looking for something external, whether it's a pill or a stretch or an exercise or a doctor, another person even, that's going to like fix you. Yes, but you also like there's stuff you can do like just through meditation and breathing that really helps with chronic pain. And just as and obviously healing, like with your experience, but just as like somebody who is like learning to like mobilize my body again and stuff. The breathing that you get from when you deep breathe, like breathe into your belly and into your pelvis and stuff like that, you open up like areas like all over your body that like you don't normally do, like things in your torso, chest, your ribs start opening up and stuff like that. And it's like, it's to me the only way I've been able to like get out of certain like bad postures and stuff like that is from that kind of breathing. Can you talk to us about that a little bit?
Well, I would say breathing is the foundational of life. We really need to do it. And breathing into the dantian, like you said, the lower abdomen is the most important. In the philosophy of qigong, qi follows the circulatory system. And most illnesses, and again, I'm not a doctor, but you could just look this up. It's very common knowledge. Most illnesses start from circulation issues, because you're not getting enough oxygen. There's not a good enough microcirculation to certain parts of the body or organs or tissue or muscles, and they start to atrophy. They don't get the right ions, things like that. So what are the channels that deliver these ions to your organs and your muscles and your bones? It's the blood. The blood carries this. So when you're deep breathing and you're regulating your breath and you're breathing into certain areas, what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring that blood through microcirculation to these places of your body. And I'll give you a practice. I know I'm not your doctor. You said don't try anything, but here is one of the trainings that I learned a long time ago is Qi follows circulation, but it's also guided by your, it's regulated by breath and it's guided by your mind. Okay, so those 3 steps. So let's say you're laying in bed tonight and you start your dantian breathing, you're breathing into your abdomen. Okay, you start building the heat and the energy. Now take your mind and go to your big toe on one of your feet. And just keep the breathing exactly the same. Like, don't change anything about your meditation and your breathing. The only thing you change is your mind is now on your toe.
On your big toe.
And when you start to do this, I'll give the secret away, is that eventually it'll feel like your toe opens up and you can feel the breath coming in and out of your toe.
Yeah, I can see that, because I can see that. I can see that just from my own experiences with breathing. I can see that. But there's a whole like I said, I've said this 20 times already, but that's like a scratching the surface of like a whole thing, right?
Yeah. So again, it's like I'm a big supporter of modern medicine.
Yeah.
I'm not anti anything. But I believe there's an extended universe out there that complements all these things. And again, it's like, I remember when I was going to energy medicine school, one of the things was that, let's say the world ends, right? Let's just say the world ends and you're on a desert island and you don't have access to a hospital. You don't have access to anything. What tools do you have as a human being to heal yourself? And I think that's the first questions we have to ask. All right, because right now we're very dependent on these systems. It's almost like we purposely are uneducated on what to do in certain situations. So we only turn to specific people and advice.
Right.
So what I would say is that we need to kind of learn the basics, like you were saying, learn the fundamentals, be educated, take responsibility for yourself. And because we live in the time we live in, we have people out there to help us as well.
Yeah, people with a bunch of education and high, like smart people who really want to help you, and they have like all this incredible technology and stuff like that. And nobody's saying, forget about that. But it's like we have forgotten how important just something as simple as regulating your own breathing, like throughout the day, can help your body chemistry and, stress levels and heart rate and blood pressure and all that stuff. And there's people who go around their entire lives and never take any control over their central nervous system by regulating their breathing.
Yeah.
And some of them just are not aware that they can do it. They've never been taught. But that's why I chose the word foundational, because it's like, if it was a foundational teaching, all the other stuff is great. Because Rubate, he's watching, and he said he's had melanoma twice. Both times surgery saved him. And he said a lot of people choose alt healing. What did he say? He said a nurse told him a lot of people choose alt healing, and then they almost always come see them again when it's too late. Yeah. And nobody's saying if you have like a tumor, meditate, but what we are saying is that, like, as a human, you have the ability to hone your perceptual awareness in a way that allows you to control the energy centers of your body. And I'm just making shit up, but I'm not making shit up, like when I say that people have been learning these practices for thousands of years, right, Jason?
Yeah. I mean, this is traditional knowledge passed down. There's reasons for it, but we're not taught it this day. So again, this foundational knowledge.
Yeah.
But when I was learning qigong, the main message was you can choose any modality. Let's say you want to be an acupuncturist. Qigong is still the foundation of that. So it's like, let's say you're doing Reiki, you're learning Reiki, hands-on healing and all these other things. Still, Qigong is the foundation. So if you have a strong foundation in Qigong, your Reiki is going to be at a certain place. Because it's all about energy and understanding energy. And if you don't have that foundation, how good can you really be?
Yeah. So there's different, like we mentioned at the beginning, this different paths to the same, sort of outcome, right? And they come from different cultures. What's interesting, I mentioned this, older cultures, like as in like cultures that like existed for a very long time, seem to have like the best versions of these sort of practices, right? In ancient India and in China and Egypt, right? As you mentioned.
Yeah. And again, it's like, I would say new society or new cultural understandings it's almost these things are demonized. A lot of religions do demonize.
They have,
these practices. So it's amazing that we still carry them because of how important they are. They're still with us, and people get reminded. Like me, I'm a white boy from Ontario, right? I don't know any of these things, but for some reason, I was put on this path through trauma, through bad things happening to me, that said, wait a second, you can't look at life this way anymore. You need to go back to your roots and find this traditional knowledge that's been here for a long time, because yes, you have your help on this side, but it's not going to help you in the side that you're exploring right now.
Yes. And I'm glad you said that, because like it is back to our roots, in that like the thing that we share in common, every last one of us, but we can't seem to describe to each other, is like our experience, right? Our consciousness, right? And it's a thing we can't measure, and it's where most of this stuff happens, right? It's like your own awareness, your own like experience, and paying attention to that. And so to me, it's like the fundamental question, right? Is like, is your red the same as my red? If we were to switch behind each other's eyes, right? But if somebody's like, as we start wrapping this up, because you can hear Jason's story of getting through trauma and his experiences in the astral realm and all kinds of different. This is a really cool book. It was our book of the month last month. It's still going to be our book of the month for the purposes of you can use the link that Brittany's provided in the chat to buy it, and it supports our channel and supports Jason when you do it through his Amazon link. But you can also go to his thecrystalsun.com website, and get all of his books off there as well. Would you prefer that they go get them?
Well, right now I prefer it off just Amazon.
Okay.
Because we're going through some tariff stuff.
Oh, right. Yes.
So it's like 35% shipping cost on, or not shipping cost, 35% on duties of what it costs. So it's just ridiculous right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then use our code. Use our code that Brittany put in the chat through Amazon to get Jason's book, Astral Experiences. If somebody were like just listening to some of this, whether they're going through emotional or physical trauma, and they're doing like what Rubate did, which was go to the actual doctor and get scans and do all that stuff, but they wanted to start exploring qigong as like a way to help themselves, just generally help their lives and get healthier, get energetically, and have a little bit more control and stuff like that. Where does somebody even start? Because I kind of just happened. I met a guy by accident at a synchronous time, and that's why I'm exploring this. But like, how would somebody even start?
That is the most difficult question, because I really believe that it is like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, just like with you, and it's all through synchronicities. So I don't usually like offer advice like you should try this or go here. You need to find your own way. Like I wrote a couple books, like you said, and this one's all about healing or healing modalities of energy. So like basically philosophy, mysticism, movements, which is the Egyptian postures book. So if you want to learn like the energetic philosophies and some other weird things, this is the book.
Nice.
And but again, like I didn't have YouTube back then. There wasn't YouTube back then.
Yeah.
So I actually went to like seek out whoever was teaching these things. But now I guess you could look up qigong practices and just try something, see what resonates with you. And but what I used to do, which I think is still pretty fun, is like when you see those statues from the museum or art books from these ancient cultures where they're like holding a posture or holding a mudra, try to copy it and see what happens.
I think that's such a cool idea. But if I'm like traveling the world, I'm like in places I always wanted to see, and then I'm just standing there in one of these weird poses I see carved in a wall, they'll probably kick me out of there. I think what I'll do is take pictures and then try them later when I get home. Also, wouldn't want to fall over and hurt myself. I'm just kidding though. I think that's a cool idea, and I had never thought of that before until like I read about your book the first time. I looked into you, and so I think that's such an interesting concept, and it makes a lot of sense to me that all these different cultures would have different ways to practice the same thing, and means to the same, to the same end. So, Jason, it was good to see you. I haven't seen you since the end of May. Mike is in school, grad school, doing like a whole program. That's why he couldn't be here. But I'm still happy that you were here, because I always enjoy talking to you.
Cool. No, thank you. Thank you. So no, it's good to share. And like I said, so many people go through these things.
Yeah.
And we usually find these traditional ideas or traditional methods in our lowest places.
Yes.
So we're hurting, we're in pain, we're in trauma, we're going through
Yes.
some bullshit in life.
Yes.
And suddenly we're pulled to an answer we would have never thought of before, and it helps.
Yes.
And we're like, oh my God, nobody could help me, but this traditional knowledge did help me. Now
Yes.
I'm going to share this with my friends, our family, things like that.
Yeah, and it's the basis is like the first thing we do when we enter like the world as we breathe. It's the first thing we do is take a breath, and that's the foundation of all these practices, right?
Yes. Yeah. And like I said, when I broke my back, I couldn't do anything except breathe
Right.
and use my mind.
Yeah.
That was the only modality I used. And it took me to places that I've never been before.
Mm-hmm.
That it just opened up this crazy. Well, all I can say is, from my perspective now, I believe that we have this innate intelligence, this ancient intelligence in our DNA, like in our
Mm-hmm.
bodies,
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes it only activates when we really need that help.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear stories all the time of these miraculous healings that it happens all the time where someone will have something that's life threatening,
Mm-hmm.
and then something happens overnight and they go back to the doctor and it's not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's no explanation. I think we have this innate intelligence within us, this healing intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes being in a really bad place for it to activate.
I think that's what I've been going through, my friend. Is like I really needed to learn to slow down and pay attention. And that's just not, I wasn't born with that software. And so I'm going to slowly install it over the back nine, the last half of my life. I'm going to like, because, like these are things you just have to eventually learn how to pay attention to. You're going to be in pain. Who wants that?
Yeah. And, you'll never hear this from anybody, but enjoy the process.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. I was enjoying the process yesterday, literally just standing there on my yoga mat, realizing how weird my feet have been working the last couple of years and not working properly, and like how like I can kind of turn it back on with my brain now. It's like I'm making these weird connections, and I'm like, this is like a little bit crazy, but like at the same time, if I just stand there and like breathe and like pay attention to the different areas of my body, I notice all kinds of different stuff that I just was like totally avoiding. And I think would have saved me a lot of suffering if I learned that when I was 5. Like if I was like king of the universe, I would make everyone learn that. I would make everyone learn that. But that would be foundational. Like people would learn to breathe and pay attention to their breathing. People would have the opportunity to learn to pay attention to the energy systems in your body, because it's a skill you can learn how to do. I love Seeds of Light and Love. I think she's or he. I don't remember if it's a guy or a girl. Is a fan of yours, I believe. But they've been coming to a lot of our episodes the last few months, and we love them here. But they said, have you talked about remote viewing yet? And we kept stayed kind of grounded in sort of healing through trauma and pain. Using qigong and ancient practices. But I wanted to just ask Jason if you wanted to touch on that quick, like, because this is all in your book, right? And so.
Well, I would say that the astral world, or this mental projection, astral projection, spiritual projection, all of these things is connected to our physical life, our emotional state, mental.
Yes.
Physical.
Correct.
So, there's a couple stories in there where I actually had to go into the astral world to take certain things off of my energy field so that I can feel better. You know, so it's almost like when we say remote viewing is projecting our mind, our spirit, our astral body to that place to gain that knowledge or to actually do something functionally. And that has
besides just spying on the Chinese government, you mean it's for something else besides that?
Oh, yes. Yes. It's like, because some answers are not physical at all.
Yeah.
You know, some answers are energetic, and the only way to get there is to be in that energetic space. So, you know, for me, it's not like a philosophy. Like, oh yeah, you can just heal something energetically and it fixes itself physically. It's like, no, I've actually had those experiences so many times where you're doing that work specifically to have that physical effect, and it happens. So this is like on another level, but it takes time to get there.
I'm just laughing to myself a little bit about how like we've got this ancient innate like ability to like pay attention to these things and use it for our benefit, and the US government goes ahead and like tries to create a program to use it to spy on the Russians. That cracks me up. That's so 20th century, right, Jason?
Yeah, I'd be careful.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. I mean, there's more to it. Yeah, there's more to it than that. Again, check the chat for Astral Experiences, and we'll start wrapping her up. Jason, what are you gonna do for the rest of the day?
Rest of the day?
Yeah. What do you got? Any plans?
Yeah, I got another interview at 3 p.m. with the great Mr. Walter Bosley.
Okay,
and,
cool.
Yeah, I'm in Reno mode again, so I got to start painting soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. I'm going to, like I said, go take a walk by the lake and do my qigong Tai Chi stuff. With my bare feet. I'll tell you a story, man. Before we close, I haven't been so up until 3 months ago, I wasn't even capable of being barefoot in my house, in the shower, anywhere, because I guess it was a compressed nerve, but it started coming back like at Contact in the Desert, and Cosmic Summit. And I'm having fun. Like I think it's exploring this new avenue. So, in next time we talk about this, I'll have probably like more like noob stuff to tell you about it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me again.
All right, man. Take care, and we look forward to bringing you back on the Multiverse. Crystal Sun. Hold on. Crystal Sun. TheCrystalSun.com or Amazon.